I said it last week. I'll say it again. It bears repeating. The best thing that can happen at any other motorsports event is a drag race. We do it every weekend. Our sport needs no introduction. It needs no explanation. Drag racing is a pure motorsport. It is the great American motorsport, but we have to start telling the story in a different context. We've got to create some shoulder programming. I've heard that used around different sports properties where the NFL, they've got their games, but they have shoulder programming. They've got news stuff. They've got these documentary series. They've got little clips and reels and all these different things that support the on-track action. We've got to create that environment here. There's a real barrier between a lot of these sanctions and series and the media and the content creators. We need to bridge that gap, right? I mean, we're working hard to welcome the media in and make them feel valued and recognize that we have an opportunity to leverage all their individual audiences. And I think a lot of places in drag racing are so protective of their, what's more buzzwords? Let me hit you with a buzzword. Oh, intellectual property. They're so protective of their IP that it's one of those, it's a classic, if you love something, let it go moment. And it will come back to you, because if you can leverage these other people, you can grow your sport. I mean, it will benefit you by letting them help you tell the story and giving them some access to content. There's a great story about kind of the Major League Baseball's approach to social media early on, and how that has hurt them and how they've had to backtrack and look at things differently, because they wanted to own it all. They didn't want players out there creating their own content because they wanted to own that content. You're an MLB player. If that content's going out, it's going out through our channels. And at this point in time,
that sounds weird.
Yeah. I mean, now you've got guys getting paid, I don't know, $50 million a season, and I couldn't point him out of a crowd. I mean, I think I could identify 2 active Major League Baseball players because of how they've handled social media, right? Because they just have not embraced it at all. They've actually shunned it in many cases, and they've not empowered creators or their athletes to build their own brands. And I mean, it's shocking to me that a baseball player can be so good that I don't know what he looks like, can't even tell you his name, but he's earning hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a fantastic thing, I guess. Yeah. But you compare and contrast that to like the NFL, where most of the players on most of the teams are like household names, not because of the games, but because of who they're dating or whatever. You could say, social media trouble they've been into, whatever. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But still, they've created an environment where they've fostered that brand building across the board, and they've gotten behind people, and they've supported endeavors to do this, and they've supported their athletes competing in these other things or being a part of these other events, because they know a high tide lifts all boats.